All right, sport fans. So we're trying to process an invoice. So how did these drop-down lists get filled? Let's take a look. So when they click the link button to go to the sales page, this one, it goes to that view, and then it also runs this general procedure, which I'm about to explain to you. So why did you put it into a general procedure without a handles clause? Because I want to use this code 10 different places inside my website, and so if you tie it to a button, then you'd have to have 10 different buttons. But you can just tack this procedure, call this procedure. You can tack this on to any other procedure. And so this refreshes the grid views and the drop-down lists. An example of when you would want to run this procedure to refresh the grid views and drop-down lists. It could also refresh radio button lists, but I typed those in. So for example, if you add a new product, then you would want to see the new product on the list. So this add new product, here's the VB.NET or ASP.NET interface, and here's the button. When you double click the button, it goes to this code, and this code is running the procedure to add a new product. We've done that already, but maybe I didn't point it out. At the end of all that, by the way, we're going to do something a little similar. Open the connection, run the command, and the command runs the stored procedure. And when you're then you get any feedback. And when you're done with that, go refresh the drop-down list and grid views. So, for example, go get the new copy of the products table. And in this case, order it by category ID and product. So let's talk about this procedure. So it can be run from any different location. It can be run from other procedures in your web page. So the easiest way to get data is if you're not using a stored procedure. So I would use a stored procedure if I was running a group by query or if I had input or output parameters. But if I'm just going to run a select star from, maybe a order by, but if I'm just going to run a select star from, there is a faster way with less overhead, meaning less typing. You just make a data adapter, dataadapter.fill, and then once you fill this array, then you can, let me show you the grid view because you probably saw that before. Once you fill the array, for example right there, once you fill the array, global data table products, which we cleared out a minute ago, clear it out of the old data, go fill in the new data, and then so that's an array with data in it. Then go over to the grid view and your data source is that array. And so we've done this already, but now we're with grid views, now we're doing it with drop-down lists. So I'll just focus on this products. So go get me the products. Select star from table name, and your table name may be different. If this doesn't work, for example, I try it without the DBO. Oops, so Control Z top. If that doesn't work, sometimes I put in, wow, that's wild. I put in the brackets for the table name. So one of those is going to work. And of course, you want to run this in SSMS first before you put it into a web page. All right, so a data adapter runs SQL statements. over a connection. And so we have our connection string up at the top. So you make the date adapter, and then we're going to fill this products table, which I have a whole bunch of tables up here at the top, but one of them is products. Why is it global, Ferdman? Why don't you keep it as a local object? Well, one procedure is going to load it, and another procedure is going to change it, and a third procedure is going to view it. So as long as it's a global object, which means public shared, a global object can be seen and changed and used from any procedure in your web page. So global objects are better in that you could load it in one procedure and then a different procedure can use it, the data, but you only use global objects if you have to, and I put a G in front of it so my little pumpkin brain can remember that it's a global and global object, not a local object, local to a procedure. It's global to the entire web page. DT for product, data table, and then products. So all right, so we're going to clear that rows of data. So clear out the old products list, go refresh the new products list. So you got to clear it out first. If you have duplicates, whenever you run the button, then you forgot this line here. Clear out the rows. All right, now inside a try-catch block, and again, the catch. So I got a lot going on here, but the catch will catch any errors and show them to you. That's useful, right? But only if you put in this response.write ex.message. So clear out the rows from the table, fill the array again. So clear out the array, fill it again. But this time you're going back to the database and you're getting a new version, a fresh version of the products list. And so this data adapter runs this red select statement, and it fills the array in the web page. So go get me a copy of the data SQL and go bring it back from the database and go put it in my array in the web page. And Microsoft calls their arrays data tables. And please remember to use the word new here. In fact, most of the ADO.NET objects, ADO.NET Active Data objects, a data table, a connection, a command have the word new in it. So that's kind of something to remember. Let's see, save a new customer. Yep, see a new SQL command. So that if you forget the word new, it'll throw a weird error that you've never seen before, so be careful about that, please. And so you fill the array. And now that you have an array, I have a products drop-down list. I do take the time to put three-letter acronyms prefacing each object. So DDL to me is a drop-down list. RBL is a radio button list. So if we go to our data entry, this guy right here is DDL products, new sale view. So naming things pretty helpful. DDL sales, DDL products, new sale view. Is that their same one? DDL products, new sale view. Yep. All right, so for that drop down list, so we use this with and with. So just like your grid view, there's a data source. So drop down list, you are going to display data from the data table array called GDT products. Now a grid view, you just show me all the data. Just specify which table to show, which array to show, and do your data bind here, and then you're done. But with a drop-down list, you have to specify which column to show and which column behind the scenes am I also going to have. So while we will select a Coug hat, that's really like product 8 or something. And so behind the scenes, so we can see the text value Coug hat, but we can't see the value behind the scenes. But when we do save our product, so let me go see if I have some data here. Yeah. So when we do save, we're saving the product ID. We're not saving, Coug hat. We're saving product 2. So we need this trick, therefore. We need to be able to see the name of the product, but we're going to save, when we do save the row of data, we're going to save the product ID. And so we're going to use the selected value product ID. So later we'll show that we have to set up our input parameters for our stored procedure. And where are you going to get the product ID from? Well, there it is, the selected value of that drop-down list. So we're loading the text is the word Coug hat, but we're also loading the values, 1 through 25 or whatever your product IDs are, and we're going to save the product ID by using the selected value. So we're going to save the value, and when they click on it, it's the selected value. And so when we specify the drop-down list, hey, what table, array table are you going to, data table are you going to display? What column are you going to show? What column are you going to have the data available for usage later, kind of behind the scenes, and you still have to do your data bind. And then we're going to do this items.insert at row 0. So let me tell you a story. If we didn't have this select a product, so that's how that got there. If we didn't have that, then red hat would be our first item on the list. Now what's going to happen is they call it the Afghanistan accountant problem. I didn't make this up. The drop-down lists by default will use the value of your first item. Now, if your first item is A for, country, then that's Afghanistan is one of the first countries, and accountant is one of the first, alphabetical job titles. So rather, so to stop the problem, so somebody's not going to select a customer or a product, and you're going to have a lot of sales. In my case, I would have a lot of sales of red hats to this first guy here, Jim. So that's why you add these items that say select a product or select a customer. And then later in the code we'll say if they didn't select anything, meaning selected index is -1, or they selected item 0, meaning they selected the product that says select a product. I mean, that doesn't make sense. So then we would just stop the code. But this is, so you have to do this for each of your drop-down lists. So we did it for customers and products. So select star from customers, select star from products. And that's how you, and then there's a bunch of other drop-down lists that, once you have this data into memory here, into this arrays, you can have many drop-down lists and grid views that display the data. So you may ask, how did this products table get its data? How did this, how did this customer table get this data? Well, I don't have any right now, but it got it from, we filled it when they clicked the button. Thanks.